Alrighty, we're back. Another episode, 190 of the Positivity Hour. Let's talk about it. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about the grind, okay? 2025, what's that all about? You know, the dog. Okay, we're gonna include the dog in here. I told the dog I'd kick her out, but whatever. She wants to be documented. This ain't even the time capsule, and we're keeping this in the intro. But like I was saying, the grind is real. It doesn't stop. What does that look like? All that and more in this podcast. Let's roll. Woo! All right, welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. This is Missy. Oh my Lord! She just tried to jump from my lap to the bed. That's crazy. I was literally about to pick her up and show you, but whatever. We're one take demon. Let's go. Welcome. Thank you for your time. I appreciate your presence. And here's another attempt of me trying to figure out how to actually record myself in my own room without pulling out my external screen to look at myself. To be honest, I think I could angle myself down just a tiny bit, and then you may see more of me. Let's go. Okay. With all that straightened out, thank you for your time, and let's get into the time capsule.
Time capsule.
For today's time capsule, I guess I have 4 things to talk about now. Missy, my sister's dog, is still here. And she's kind of our dog now. Thanks, Nakia, for giving us your dog. And yeah, also subscribe to my sister, Green Eyed Gamer 97 on YouTube. I'll have it in a little pop-up card, or I guess over there on YouTube, and your link in description for those folks on Spotify and Apple who want to tap in as well. But you know, she be streaming. She been going hard. She just hit 5 subscribers on YouTube. She just hit I think 12 followers on Twitch. And the grind is there. You know, she's grinding, she's working hard, she's doing her best out here to make her dreams come true day by day. So just wanted to document that and put it in the time capsule. Next thing on the time capsule, okay. Our president of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump, met with Putin. I don't know what day it was exactly this last week, but either yesterday or like 2 or 3 days ago or something like that. And I don't know what they talked about, really. I just know that there wasn't a nuclear war, something about the war in Ukraine. But more importantly, the thing I took away from it was when Donald Trump shook Putin's hand, they flew over like 5 F-35s and a B-2 stealth bomber, like 100 feet over Putin's head. And I was like, that is the most symbolic, we're gonna nuke you if you mess up move ever. And I was like, I love this country. I don't necessarily love Donald Trump, but hey, we got a near $1 trillion military budget. The least we could do is fly it around to scare people, I guess, and see what happens. YOLO, you know, saying like, we're all gonna die anyways. That being said, hopefully their talk was productive, but just wanted to put that in the time capsule and say, if anything does happen, we know where it started. Number 2, or I guess number 3, Monterey Car Week is, I think it was last week. I'm not sure if it's going to keep going this week, but notable cars, you know, I'm a car guy. Notable cars that were revealed were like the Lamborghini Fenomeno. That's on the screen for those who are watching, but for those who are listening, I'll describe it. It's a few off series, limited production, like car. There's only going to be like 29 in the world. $3.5 million, I'm pretty sure they were saying, before tax, of course. And yeah, they're already sold. Me personally, I'm rocking with it. But I do also understand that the few off series from Lamborghini, like most like series production cars, or even few offs from other companies like Ferrari or Aston Martin, they're just like rebodied versions of the normal car, but like made it more special. So in this case, it's you take a Lamborghini Revuelto and put a cool body on it and change some things on the inside, and then you could charge $3.2 million more than the normal car. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. In the past, when they did it with the Revington and like the Sesto Elemento especially, those cars just felt like super special. But I don't know. I feel like they kind of lost the plot on the Lamborghini Countach, okay? The new one. because they made like 112 of them. I was like, oh, I know that's not a lot, but the point was to be exclusive. You know what I'm saying? And I think the 29 customer cars and the one for the factory, so 30 in total, is pretty exclusive. You're never going to see one. Like, that's the point. If you see one, it's a unicorn. So yeah, I just wanted to say Monterey Car Week's going on. A lot of cool car stuff, but that was probably a lot of people's highlights. And last thing, I'm back in Cedar Rapids. I'm gonna post some pictures, or not post them, I already did. I'm gonna put some pictures on the screen of the pictures I took just around town, and so just to say I'm back here. But I mean, if you watch this podcast, you already knew that, but for everyone else who didn't know, I'm back. So yeah, it's grind time, which is gonna be the main topic. So let's get into it.
Time for the main topic.
So yeah, now that I'm back in Cedar Rapids and I have a pretty stable living condition, like I and even more so, my fixed schedule goes into effect. Like, I know what I'm going to be doing every day of the week for the next like 6 months. Not even 6 months. Like, what's this August? So that's September, November. September, October, November, December, January. Yeah, no, about 5.5 months. I know what I'm going to be doing every day for the next 5.5 months. And this is the first time in 6 years that I have that kind of certainty. This is the first time in 6 years that I know when I can grind and when I need to focus on the day job. This is the first time in 6 years when I know what I can and can't do for who I can and can't work for, so on and so forth. I say all of that to say that this last week has been chaotic as hell because I've been trying to still find time to grind in my previous schedule where that was not the case, okay? And if you remember last week's episode of the podcast, I said this week would be like the unseen stories or whatever being told about the grind. And I still don't exactly know what I'm gonna be calling this episode, or what I'll be titling this rather. But last week was rough, okay? Whether it was, you know, driving to the day job and still trying to find time to meet with clients, or still trying to find time to like work on the client work I already have, or finish these podcasts, or finish these vlogs, or whatever it is. It takes so much time. And I had this realization yesterday, and this is kind of a let's get personal, but we'll talk about this more in next week. And when I was driving the bus yesterday, I was like, dang, like I'm so busy with the day job and just trying to work on like free client work to gain the portfolio of real world, like working with businesses and all of this, that like content that actually helps them grow their brands and their YouTube account and such, that it's like I'm doing so much like free work right now. Like I don't even have time to like market the skills and stuff that I've even like gained in the last 6 months to like potentially get someone to pay me for it. And obviously I think I have more work to be done. You know, you're never perfect, and I'm not saying I've mastered it, but you know what I'm saying, especially with like New Wave Performance, like this 6 months or whatever I've been working with them, we're up like 300 subscribers on YouTube. You know, we're getting closer and closer to 1,000 and monetizing that YouTube channel. You know, it's obviously not happening overnight, but you know, I'm trying to work on it like religiously, you know what I'm saying? Because that's a promise I made to my friend in business, acquaintance John, you know what I'm saying? Same thing with my brother's business. I've been trying to work on this freaking document, you know, to actually figure out who the target audience is and this and that, and how to achieve his dream outcome for his business and such. And it's just been a grind because it's like I got all these other things going on. I got life, you know, happening. Skip the day job. I got like real life problems, you know, like everyone does, that I'm trying to like find a way to work through as well. And I think like these are things that we often don't think about when we see people with, as I said in the time capsule, flashy cars or the big houses in Monterey or the nice architecture or whatever. We see end results and don't see what it took to get there. And I thought about that and I was like, that's exactly what I want to talk about for this podcast. Is if you want anything of substance, it's going to be a grind, you know? You're going to lose sleep. You're going to lose friends. You're going to lose people along the way. You're going to have ups. You're going to have downs. But that doesn't mean you need to give up. But don't look at other people and what they have and be like, I want that too. Because you don't know what they had to do to get there. You could do the exact same things, do the exact same paths, walk the exact same footsteps as them and get nowhere. You could actually go back 20 steps because maybe that was a once in a lifetime opportunity that got them there. Maybe they were prepared to do something only they could do. You know, that's why when you're on your journey, when you're on your grind, you need to find what makes you and what you can provide to the world and how you can get people to know that you do that. For me, it's this positivity stuff. For me, it's this business where I, help create brands. I tell stories and I capture special moments, whether it's a graduation and a little video edit or something to commemorate that experience and just letting people celebrate and feel acknowledged and seen by the world, or if it's working with these businesses like New Wave Performance or Golden, the sales team, just showing people this lifestyle, showing people what high-level athletes look like, what high-level sales performers look like. Whatever it is for me, it's a grind, because not only am I experiencing the day job, not only am I experiencing trying to learn how to tell these stories and capture these moments, but I'm also experiencing real life, something that is unique to me. Only I can experience what goes on between, these two ears of mine in my brain. Maybe I'm a little psycho, I don't know. But what I do know is you don't fail unless you give up. And that's the main point I wanted to really talk about here in the grind 2025 is, although I've had a lot of ups and downs, although you've experienced a lot of good things and bad things in your own life, you only fail when you stop trying. You only fail when you give up. You only fail when you ring it up, for the last time. You're like, okay, that's it. I retire. Okay. Like, until then, you still got a shot. So I could go on and on about this, but I think I've talked about this enough. This is going to be a nice, short and sweet episode. So yeah, long story short, the grind is real, but we're back in Cedar Rapids. We're back getting it. We're back about to get back to the regularly scheduled program. I mean, we're technically on the regularly scheduled program already, but I just wanted to say that, hey, don't look at what other people have and be like, I want that too, because you got to remember, life is about the journey, okay? Yes, if you do it right, if you do the journey right, you get to the end goal, and you can use that as a carrot to dangle in front of your head. But if you're so focused on the end goal, you're going to burn yourself out, because yeah, I know where I want to get to and I know what I want, so on and so forth, but I may not get there for 50 years. I could get there tomorrow. I don't know. But if I only focus on that, I'm going to lose hope, because I'll be like, it's never happening. But if you trust the process and you love the process and you're like, my goal today is just to record this podcast and attempt to get it up by 12 o'clock noon, because I slept in because I was so freaking tired of the grind. I walked in yesterday and my mom was like, oh my God, you look drained. And it's like, yeah, I've been grinding. Like, it's a lot. But I believe in you. I believe in myself. So let's get personal.
Let's get personal.
All right, now that we are personal, I didn't even say words. I was like saying sounds there. Now that we're all personal, or rather, now that we talked about the main topic, let's get personal. There we go. Yeah, man, it's this upcoming week. I'm super excited for it. Like, I really just can't wait to have a set schedule that I know what I'm going to do every day of the week. And the cool thing is I have Saturday, Sunday, and Monday off from the day job, meaning I actually have time to work really, really hard and dedicated towards my business and towards the thing that will set me free from the matrix. Don't get it twisted. I love the bus job. It pays well, but it's not the forever gig. And I acknowledge that consistently. And one day I am going to have to bite the bullet and hang it up. Okay. I'm going to have to quit and be like, I'm sorry, but I got another opportunity over here that's a little too good to say no to. But until then, I am grateful that I have that opportunity to where I can, pay my bills and pay for some of these business expenses while things are slow, while things aren't paying for itself. Because in this modern era, yes, you could get a job doing stuff like this for other people, but as I've acknowledged many times before, especially on this podcast, like, I'm not necessarily trying to pay for the information yet. And this is something I talked about with my brother, because, he went on a whole rant with me about how he's spent hundreds of thousands of dollars paying for the information for other people so he didn't have to do it. And I understand that that's a real thing people do. People are near to me do it. Like I said, my brother is 6 figures, almost 7 figures deep in it. You know what I'm saying? But I also acknowledge the other side of the coin, that the reason why those people can sell their services for hundreds of thousands of dollars is because they actually had to go through something to get there. And I want to experience that. I want to see what it's like to actually grow a business or grow a brand and figure out these things rather than just like having it handed to you. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but I want to learn how to fish, not necessarily just be given a fish. And I understand that if people do it right, they're also teaching you how to fish. But the main thing you're paying for is just some fish, okay? But I want the struggle. Like, I want the grind. I want the hard path, because that's how you ensure that you can actually do it again and again and again. It's like, I've been through this before. Yeah, it's something different. I was working with a gym, and now I'm working with a solar company, but I know roughly how this goes. And I know that because of what I've experienced. The free work I've done, the paid work I've done, I think up until this point in my career, I've done 37 paid shoots or whatever for my business. And in the grand scheme of things, I think my business is pretty break even. If I didn't buy this laptop, it would especially be, but whatever. I needed to buy the laptop, and it's helped me make cooler graphics and do and offer services for clients that I wouldn't have been able to offer if I didn't have a nicer machine to work on. You know what I'm saying? So I've been rambling, but what's the point here? Okay, we're getting personal, so that was kind of the point. I'm just telling you my story, telling you where I'm coming from, telling you what I'm seeing, and what I'm seeing is a lot of people are clocking out before they reach their end goal. And the problem is with that, as I said at the end of the main topic, is that people don't love the grind. You know what I'm saying? People don't love day in, day out, working hard, not knowing what needs to be done, but trying to figure out something to do. You know what I'm saying? This entrepreneurial lifestyle, and it's a beautiful thing. It must be said, that your life is what you make it. This is such a great time to be alive. This is the last thing I'll say before we get to the wisdom from your OG, because I got a quote for y'all. Just watch. But what a time to be alive. You know what I'm saying? We have access to AI. We have access to Google, infinite knowledge and from anyone on the planet. If you send the right words in an email or DM, you can be on a Zoom within 5 or 10 minutes of any person on this planet almost, okay? And the only reason for you not to see success is pure ignorance, okay? Even if you don't have the money, even if you don't have the resources, even if you don't have the knowledge to get there, we have tools that are available. We have free resources, especially if you live in a city, excuse me, that has a library or maybe free Wi-Fi or whatever it is, or even computers and devices you can rent. There are ways to go about this in this modern world that people 20 years ago simply just didn't have. 50 years ago, definitely didn't have. 100 years ago, it's unthinkable, unfathomable that people had what we have today. So I love the grind. I love the journey. I love the process. I'm not perfect, and I always make mistakes. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I do something I wasn't supposed to do. Maybe I watch some YouTube when I was supposed to be doing this or that. It doesn't matter, okay? Because I understand that it's a long game here, and you got to keep pushing forward, and you got to use what's available to you. Use your unique perspective. There will never be another you. And with all that being said, let's get some wisdom from the OG.
wisdom from your OG.
All right, this week's wisdom from your OG is once again from your boy Darshaun Smith, aka the Positivity God, the host of this podcast. I realized I didn't say that earlier because my dog attacked me. But yeah, the quote I wanted to say, I see it floating around Instagram in the motivational porn ecosystem. But no, for real, this was a really, really good one that just came to me as I was writing out the notes for this. And it said, the price of not locking in is clocking in for the rest of your life, okay? And what does that mean? Essentially, this whole podcast is about grind culture and just really working hard towards your dreams, goals, and aspirations. But if you're not able to lock in and sit down for me at this computer for 5-6 hours at a time and edit a podcast, or yesterday it was for 4 hours to make a 40-minute vlog. And it's crazy because a lot of it is just watching what you recorded, but some of it is finding out what the intro is going to be, cutting out what's boring, or figuring out what story needs to be told. You know, a lot of things that you'll be working for hours and hours and hours, but necessarily you don't have anything to show for. If you're not able to lock in on that, like I was yesterday, or I was the day before, or I will when I'm editing this podcast, the price you're going to pay is clocking in for someone else for the rest of your life, okay? And I just want to let you know, AI is coming, y'all. We are about to be replaced by a lot of things. But there's beauty in the human imperfection. The fact that I'm not 100% locked in allows me to learn new things from new people. It allows me to go outside and go on a walk. It allows me to go to the market after dark here in downtown Cedar Rapids and experience life and live a life that's worth living rather than just surviving. And I say all that to say that, like, the price of not locking in is clocking in. But remember, take care of yourself. You know, that's something I have to remind myself of consistently. And that's why I slept in today, because I was drained. I'm gutted. I ain't gonna lie. I've been working really hard, but I could work harder. So that's all I got for this week's podcast episode. Let's talk about next week's topic. Next week's topic is going to be 5 action steps I'd tell my younger self, knowing what I know now. And yeah, it's going to be pretty simple, pretty short, sweet, good for Instagram clips and all that. Nice Aura Farm session going to go on next week. So be sure you tap in and get these topics, because I've experienced a lot in my life. And I feel like if literally, like, from Bitcoin to like just ways I use AI or the business I want to run, I would have started quite some time ago. But like I said, we'll talk about that next week. So yeah, time for the outro. Yeah, I think this was a pretty good episode. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tapping in. Thanks for giving me a piece of your time. This has been a Darshaun Smith production, and it's a great day to have a great day. What a time to be alive. There's no one I'd rather be than me, as they say in Wreck-It Ralph at the Evil Villains ceremony. Yeah, man, it's a beautiful thing. So this upcoming week is going to be a challenge. It's going to be a grind, to say the least, but I just want to say that, hey, it's a beautiful thing, and it's what I signed up for. So take some time for you. Don't be afraid to be yourself, and when in doubt, twerk it out. Until next time, I'm your host, Darshaun Smith, aka the Positivity God, and we'll see you around. Deuces. Woo! Fade to black. Yeah!
I'm in my G'd up zone. I'm about to get it in, kick your feet up, home. Days turn to weeks when you're always on the grind all night. I got my re-up back. I'm about to get it in, I'll be right back.
Nate, high lows to those who don't know the name. And G'd up, yup, that's the only thing I claim.